The wrong decision we make in our lives can lead to thousands of losses. That's what ended up happening with Patricia Bravanel and Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão. Now, we're seeing the consequences of all those atrocities, those indecencies, mocking Brazilians in the most perverse way possible. Not even Praça Nossa escaped, the show of the brother, also of Neto. Where was Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão's head at, right? Thinking that Lucas Neto would be able to bring any audience, would be able to bring any results to the network? I'm gonna show you here what stage the boycott is at. People haven't forgotten. Like I always say, we're the majority here, my friends. These characters ended up in a really complicated situation. Machado developed it, asking for likes. I'll bring you all the information and news. Unfortunately, Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão is paying the price for siding with the most evil characters against its own people. I'll show everything here. Come be part of our family. Come, join our team. There's a lot of news and information. My friends, before I start here, just a quick message. We have Slim Fairway, right? Available for everyone, and you'll achieve natural weight loss. Especially at year-end parties. Sometimes we end up going a little overboard, right? Sometimes we eat a little more and all, right? And we always get that worry, right? What do we do to lose inches, to lose weight? Here's a product with which I lost more than 20 kilos. Everyone asks about it. Fabiano Guiguet. Wow, you lost weight quickly. Yes, my friends. It took willpower and a helpful product. It's a little powder. Look, it's a little powder that you take and mix in water. It tastes like orange juice. Looks like a tank, right? Similar. And it suppresses hunger, right? You feel less hungry, right? Soon you'll be able to lose weight. If I can do it, my friends, I'm living proof. Just look at these photos from a few months ago. Me and a friend of mine, we were together. You were chubby, Fabiano. You were chubby. It had been a while since he last saw me. We ended up meeting yesterday. Great guy, my friend Gilberto. Big hug. Fabiano, you lost weight, I joked. It's Slim Ferv, right? I'm there every day. Promoting a great product on the channel for easier weight loss and peace of mind. We know it's hard. It's hard. Me, like every day, and I wasn't able to lose weight. Slim Ferv was what helped me, right? To lose more than 20 kilos. The link is right here, just below, for everyone who wants to take advantage. To get to the big summer-looking slim, right? It's really cool. It gives you a huge quality of life, my friends. A lot of quality of life. When we think, right, well, they're gonna stop showing off, they're gonna pay. They'll find a way, right, in this situation. Then comes this spoiled brat, right, that Fabio Faria hired for Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão News, making insinuations here, right? Saying that the Brazilian army is right to side with Sando, that they did the right thing. Those 10 people who were arrested over the weekend, including Felipe Martins, right? That Alexandre de Moraes is absolutely right, basically, right? To use the armed forces in his favor to carry out these arrests? Yes, illegal. Just a narrative they used both with President Bolsonaro, with Braga Neto, with General Heleno, and so many others. General Almirante Almir, General Paulo Sergio. It's absurd. It's absurd. And just this past weekend, there were more army officers, one of whom was arrested. This little wannabe playboy here, this spoiled brat, must be related to Fabio Faria, right? I'm serious this time, but based on his type, that's probably why, right? Look, Yanni Menezes added something. Alexandre Moraes uses the army to assist the federal police in serving arrest warrants to Felipe Martins. A. This means part of the army is now Alexandre Moraes' lackey. People here are outraged, right? The video has over 130 comments. Look here, see. Now, you can understand why the country has become a real land of disorder, insecurity and economic development, and in its institutions. Nothing is working here, folks.
Putting me as a watermelon and we dry ice. I'm an air melon, we vacuum the clouds.
I'm a land melon. We paint any kind of curb. We're your government's useful idiots.
It is. It's sad to see what's happening, isn't it? Look at this comment. God is the Lord of time, the owner of time. We live in diabolical times on earth due to prophecy. The beast of the apocalypse will persecute the saints and will overcome them until the time of permission ends and evil begins to be destroyed. Until then, the good must endure. And that's pretty much how it is when we see a network that we used to admire so much. It's not here that the army cooperated with the Supreme Court's orders. It's sad to see, and that's why Brazilian society reacts this way. Not even Carlos Alberto, who is one of the people, yes, whom the people care about the most, but the boycott was widespread. Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão doesn't even reach 5 points and is practically at rock bottom during Christmas. Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão faced a tough situation. In the last 3 days, the channel had ratings below 5 points last Tuesday. Or here now, it reached an average of 1.8, a peak of 2 points, and 3 in share. The show ran from 6:30 to 7:45 post-meridium. On Wednesday, in Lula's speech, it averaged 1.8 points, and even though it was low, the short program still scored higher than the special Be the Light, which averaged 1.5 points. With A Praça é Nossa, Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão scored 4 points, and also achieved its best result in the last 3 days. The comedy show used artificial intelligence to reunite Carlos Alberto de Nóbrega with his father, Manuel de Nóbrega. The 2025 retrospective had an average of only 3 points. The show was hosted by Cesar Filho, A. The Noit was there with showman Danilo Gentili, right? It surprised during the late night and secured an average of 2.7 points. Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão is really struggling. The boycott is intense. It's massive. People don't forget them. Instead of, I'm not saying, to stay, it's about putting out news that pleases us, but without political activism, because if it's going to be activism, we'll just stay here. Countering the absurdities of Andrea Sadi, Natuzanelli, and that whole wicked bunch from Globo that we know very well. Then they put in someone unknown that nobody knows who this guy is. Here, Fabio Faria's protege puts him in the back of a motel somewhere in Sao Paulo. Definitely just to mock the Brazilian people. That the army is right, that the army was democratic, and that the army shouldn't even have been called in. What does the army have to do with it, right? Alexandre de Moraes uses the federal police to commit various abuses against people. But look, now we can perfectly understand why Fabio Faria made a point of taking Alexandre de Moraes to the launch of that lousy channel. Now, we start to understand that it's really meant to shock like that. Here it will be a station at your command. We'll do whatever you want. It's very sad what happens, and it's unbelievable. It already had low ratings. Look, with low ratings. Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão removes another so-called children's show, but Lucas Neto's show was never truly for kids, here or anywhere else, right? Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão announced the removal of the show Lucas Tom from its programming schedule after 2 years on the air. The show, which featured sketches starring the children's influencer Lucas Neto, will not have its contract renewed for 2026 and will already be taken off the air. The show, which aired on Saturday mornings, was unable to achieve the expected audience ratings and was heavily impacted by the high cost of content licensing. According to sources close to the network, low ratings were the main factor that contributed to the end of the show. If even A Praça é Nossa isn't getting ratings, can you imagine a show by Felipe Neto's brother attracting viewers? What's happening with Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão? Don't they have any direction? The news director at Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão News is the guy who hired Amanda Klein. Raquel Landon, that Basilia woman, thought they would get an audience with the most activist journalists from the Partido dos Trabalhadores movement. The only one missing there was Daniela Lima. The only one missing was Daniela Lima. I think it was going to be so shocking and bizarre that they said, let it go, maybe later. And it's that detail we've been talking about here in several videos. This happened with Globo, and it's happening with Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão. It only took Luiz Roberto Marinho, that great journalist from the past, to pass away, and his children destroyed everything in every way. Globo was enough, right? The same thing happened with Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão. It only took Silvio Santos, sadly passing away. That the daughters, right? Not all of them, right? We can't include Cynthia or Sylvia, the top two in the situation, since they weren't present. Just so you have an idea, in that absurd situation with the invitation to Pelago and the invitation to Alexandre de Moraes, the two of them didn't go, they weren't there, but the others, right? Was the father's death enough? The kind that just hands over the station, which is a national asset, into the hands of someone who didn't have to fight, didn't have to do anything to deserve to keep it, right? This channel that we admire so much. Since he debuted on Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão, Lucas Neto hasn't been able to please the audience, obviously, right? On the conservative network, did you think Felipe Neto's brother was going to please anyone? Who in their right mind, who's a parent, would have the courage to turn on the television and let their child watch? Lucas Neto, who? Especially Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão, which was a channel we used to turn on so we wouldn't have to watch Globo. But guys, it's so clear and obvious that it can only be on purpose. They're trying to bring down Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão because anyone with even a tiny bit of intelligence, it doesn't have to be much, but just a little bit, would already know it wouldn't work. But they keep insisting, right? Often, the guy has less than 1 point, even below 0. And on Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão, which is equivalent to 199,000 viewers. With the ratings below expectations and the pressure for results, the network decided not to renew the contract. In addition, in May 2025, due to the low numbers, the show underwent a drastic schedule change. Lucas Tom, originally set for 11:15 ante-meridiem to 12:15 post-meridiem, was rescheduled to air at 6 ante-meridiem. Even with this change, the performance remained below expectations. Guys, did you see what happened there? For example, in the case of Zezé de Camargo, they got him, right? And they put Chaves on at the time when Zezé was going to do that Christmas special. Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão, well, Chaves, never let us down, since Zezé might not show up. We put Chaves on and show that we have a huge audience here, right? They said, let's air Chaves to attract more viewers. And as a bonus, we'll make fun of Zezé de Camargo, who didn't want to come do the special. Not even Chaves saved Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão this time. Not even Chaves, and look, for Chaves to get low ratings. Something happened, right? How many times did Chaves beat Globo? And they were reruns. But we never got tired of watching Chaves, because it's simply Chaves. Then those guys think they're gonna get huge ratings and all, but they still get beaten anyway. I even showed it here just now. Look how completely lost and desperate they are. Look here, Fatima Bernardi getting close to Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão with Tulio Gadella by her side. Man, check out the headline from Veja magazine. The host appears on the Silvio Santos show with Patricia Bravanel. Do you really think Fatima Bernardi will succeed at Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão by bringing that guy, her unbearable boyfriend, who only Fatima Bernardi, with all her millions, managed to get elected as a congressman? Just imagine. It's unbelievable. It's each dumb idea we see. So, with her boyfriend by her side, Will she be able to get ratings on Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão? Even Chaves and A Praça and Nossa aren't getting ratings. They brought Lucas Neto there, thinking we wouldn't blow up in ratings, but they flopped. The right thing, what they should do is stop being arrogant. Did you notice the mistake? There's still time to fix things. There's still time to get all of them. We right-wing conservatives who always watch Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão abhor those journalists who stir things up, since they're activists, not real journalists. That's why when someone tells me Amanda Klein is a journalist, it's a joke. That Raquel Landinha is a journalist, it's a joke. Or that little puppet over there, that spoiled rich kid, the fan of Alexandre de Moraes, saying it's a joke. To do a broad overhaul with serious journalists, I'm not saying to hire Bolsonaristas. No, serious journalists. You know, with seriousness, then maybe they'll recover, admit their mistakes. Get rid of this Fabio Faria. From then on, never talk like that again? No. Look, son, go take care of some other property. Give him a farm. Give him something good. That's what I'm telling you, right? The guy has probably never done any real hard work, but give him another responsibility. Let him take care of the drivers. Do something else here. Look, just don't let him set foot there again. You know what I mean. Sistema Brasileiro de Televisão isn't recovering from this terrible crisis. Because do you really think you're going to get the left-wing audience or what's left over from Globo? You're completely mistaken. For God's sake, everyone can see what's happening. Is it possible that only they can't see it? Share this video on WhatsApp, on Facebook. Give it a like. Hit the like button. Come on. Join our family by subscribing to our channel.